Hello. Whoa. Hello. Today we're going to be editing on Premiere Pro, take you straight through my workflow and how I do things. So, I've got here a list of stuff that I try to check off every time I edit a video or make a project that I want to do. And it's pretty simple, right? You got to start with filming. First step. Obviously, the first thing to any video is getting your footage. You might be making a montage of something online, or maybe photos that you took of your friend, or whatever it is. You just have to have the footage ready, right? So you can do a couple of things in this case. You can go ahead and shoot with the mindset of getting a certain result, for that project. With that result, you know what you're kind of looking for, like maybe an action edit or any kind of creative project. It's always nice to have a reason behind it, right? Like some kind of idea that you're trying to bring to life. And then other times, you may not know what you're getting into. You may just want to take a bunch of footage and put it in and edit it to make something cool. Whatever it is, you need to have your footage. Okay, if you need and then also with that, when it comes to filming, if you're filming yourself or whatever, you need to have the confidence, right? Give yourself the confidence. You're not you're beautiful and I love you. But like, you can create some amazing stuff. You just need to release it. Get the feedback, even if you don't think that it's like the best you've ever done. It helps you get better. It helps you get better to just keep creating content if that's what you want to do while you're here, or why you clicked on this video. Unless it's just like by accident. In that case, please give me the watch time anyway. Sorry about my desktop. So you have your footage, right? You have to figure out a way to get it onto your device that you're editing from. I edit from my PC. It's running on Windows. I have File Explorer. I mean, Apple does too. So whatever this looks like, just go ahead and open that up and import your footage. For me, I already imported all my footage. I have a folder here, edits, with a special symbol, and all my footage is here. The third step is to name and siphon through your footage. I like to open up the footage and watch it and skip through, right, for any action, and then once the action starts, go ahead and watch it, maybe even skip there. And I covered an 11-second clip in less than 11 seconds. I'm saving a decent amount of time, and when it gets to something longer, like 57 seconds, you can cover something really quick. I'm watching all these little different keyframes, and I can see what's happening, and I know, what's happening in the shot. Anyway, so import all your footage onto your laptop or computer. It's always nice to keep it in the folder organized, so you have everything if you ever need to access it again, and maybe make like a throwback montage, if you will. Well, you'll have it open and you know exactly where it is, and it's good life. Over down here, I have some extras, maybe some pictures, and then my end screen, which I use pretty much in every video I post on YouTube. So that's important to have here. So like things like that, you can keep that down here. But so you're gonna open up all your footage. I already named all this, but you name it however you want. Just make it so that you can recognize what exactly each thing is. So for me, like, let's say I'm looking for a certain clip, right? I want to get a clip of my shirt. I was wearing a shirt that said "Have a good time," and let's say I wanted to use that footage, right? I know exactly where it is because this right here, "Have a good time," right? Or you could even name it HGT. Whatever it is, the name has to be something recognizable so that you can access it really easily. This will shorten down the editing process a lot. If you don't know where anything is and you have to scroll through all the clips every time, you're never gonna get anywhere without taking 2-3 hours just to get the footage in. The way I name it is I have the type of shot, or for me, the type of shot and the name that goes with it, something that I can recognize. And also, you probably noticed there's A, and then the C. I made this up, right? A, for me, like I was thinking like A, B, C, because A is always going to be first in the timeline because it's by name, or that's how I organize it. So A for me means action, or the successful line, or the successful thing that I most likely and will use in the final edit. This is important because this is basically the main meat, the main content of the edit, and I'm still learning, right? But as I'm creating more content, I'm learning that there's a certain timing to it. You don't want to just dump all the content or the action in front of the viewer, and then it gets kind of exhausting to watch. You know, you need to have some breaks and maybe watch some fails, some B-roll. B-roll, in case you don't know, is like just shots of the scenery or like something that isn't necessarily action, but it'll add to the story or whatever kind of story you're trying to create. Yeah, so A is action, B is the B-roll, C is fails. Okay, and then I'm mixing them. So here there's action and there's a little bit of failure in there, or it's a failed B-roll shot. And then D for me is it's like the extras or things that I'll probably use, but they're not necessarily like successful lines or anything. They're just things that are just mildly interesting. Let's just watch this.
I just like a medium close-up, right?
Yeah.
And then that's when you tell me to go, and then I'll go. I'll see it, and you're zooming.
The reason why I named this camera thing cool is because an amazing person came up and said this camera thing is cool. So and I ended up using that in an edit for Instagram. And this is what we're gonna be. This is the footage we're gonna be using for today. For today's edit.
This camera thing is cool.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So name all your footage. It might be daunting right now, but go ahead and name it all. So when you get to the editing process, it's much easier. Z is just things that I like failed shots or like really short clips that I 0.00002% chance of me using it ever, but I might, so I just kept it.
It's recording, whatever. Just you want to try?
I don't want to try it.
Yeah. Okay, so we have all the footage. Well, the next step for me would be to import into Premiere. So let's go ahead and open Premiere. If you don't have Premiere Pro, you can use any other software you want. There's a bunch of different softwares that you can use, and it's all up to preference. For me, Premiere was just, I always wanted to use Premiere, but I never really had the money to like get it. And I was using iMovie all this time, and any editing software, it's all the same concept. I mean, if you want to take these steps, you import the footage, you name the footage, and you bring it into your editing software. And the different tools that you have, especially like cutting through clips, is common in editing software. So you can follow through this no matter what software you're on. Okay, so you're here. You're gonna go ahead and click New Project, and here you get a bunch of different settings. I do not know what this is. I don't know what this is either. Okay. So you can name it. This is important too. This is where all of your different projects are gonna save. All right, so we have the different projects here. The autosave, that's important too. If you're working on something and something messes up, you don't notice till too late. You don't notice till maybe an hour later into editing. You can go ahead and look for the autosave and import it back into your project and try to save and salvage that footage. And I was actually able to do that on the most recent video, and man, if I had to redo it, that would suck. So once you have all that set, you know where your project's gonna go. Name it whatever you want. For this, it's gonna be one line, because we're gonna be working with technically one line. That's all I did. It's gonna open up the timeline for you, and this is important as well. I made a custom editing workspace, and I did this with a YouTube video. I'll link it below. It's really useful. But basically, the main concept is you want to prioritize your timeline, or most people do. So you have space here, and have things next to each other, like in the same panel, that will open. Like you don't need to open two at a time, right? So effect controls and effects, I might need at the same time. Lumetri scopes and effects, I'm gonna need at the same time, but like I'm not gonna need to open the source and the program. Let's go ahead and import all of our footage. We have everything. Go ahead and make it smaller. Drag over. Okay, great. So now we have all this, right? You can scroll down below to like look at the different footage, or the different ways you can look at the footage, I guess. So this is important too, because we can see the frame rate, and I'll get into that later. But okay, and then over here we have the thumbnails. We can kind of see exactly what it is without having to read everything. And then here is I have no idea what this is. I never use it. Okay. So after you import the footage, or like for me, after I import the footage, my fourth step would be to find music. I just started using Epidemic Sound, and it's pretty good, you know? I've found a good amount of songs on there. So here I have like different songs that I found that I really liked, so I put them in this playlist. And whenever I'm ready to use them, I just press download, or I already have them downloaded, so I look for the name. And then I go ahead and search up the name. I have a folder for all my songs. Here, songs. Free to use. I have these that are not free to use, but I, use them in Instagram edits because actually I shouldn't say that. I shouldn't incriminate myself. Okay, one of a kind. Here it is. Yep, that's a song. So over here to Premiere, bring it in. Now we have our song. Now, if you don't want to spend money, what I did before Epidemic Sound was I went on YouTube. Okay, YouTube is like amazing, especially for if you're just starting editing. You're trying to learn the basics. This guy's amazing on his like editing tutorials, how to export HD video. Here, okay, so there's a YouTube channel that has a bunch of songs. Everything there is copyright free, and it's called Audio Library. They got two different channels. Personally, I don't like this channel because this one just has less videos. It's just not as good, in my opinion. But so we have all these different songs here. They have nice thumbnails, and usually the thumbnails are like the same vibe as the song, right? So here you can kind of tell it's either gonna be edgy or like maybe a little bit sad. Dance, electronic, and funky. Nice. Okay, but yeah, they have this title thing where it brings up the artist and the genre of music that's in the video. All you need to do for this music is just read the description. Here it says you're free to use this track if you're not a brand or working with one, and you must include the following credits, right? So you just copy this, you put in your description, and you're done. You can use it. That's it. You have to download it through their thing. It'll make you subscribe to the artist, but if the link isn't working, and you don't want to download it that way, just go ahead and copy the link, go to MP3, paste the link, search, and download. So that's for music, right? Okay, so you have your music. Ideally, the music is going to set the whole tone for the edit. You want to make sure your music is, it matches your footage, or at least it matches the thing you're going for. Because if your music doesn't match what you want to create, it's not going to be good at all. For some reason, when I import the music and everything, it's usually really loud, and for some reason, this is not loud. I don't know why, but the music is just always really loud. So I right-click it and go to audio gain. This will change the thing for the entire track. You can set the gain, adjust gain, or normalize the max peak. I do this, and I go to -12. Now the thing is, if you bring in the song, the sequence name will be the song, which, for me, it doesn't really matter. But if you're going to be doing a bunch of sequences, it's good to name it, right? So new sequence, right there, file, new sequence, and it'll give you all those presets. For the most part, you don't really need to worry about it. I click this one and then go to the settings and change it anyway, custom, and just make sure it's all what I want. 1920 by 1080, 23.976 frames, sample rate should match your audio and your footage. For the most part, you don't need to change it on any of this. Just right here is the cool thing. You can name your sequence. So I'm gonna name it the project name. Now, what's important to consider is the frame rate. I didn't learn this until maybe a year into editing videos and things. So you have all this footage, and it says the frame rate, and your sequence settings needs to match the frame rate, or else it'll look weird. Okay, for me, it's better to have more frames in the video than my sequence settings, because if your sequence settings is set to like 60 frames and all your footage is at 24, it's gonna be really jittery because it's trying to make up for the fact that you don't match the quota. But we're here at 23.976, and the reason why I do that is for slow-mo. Let's bring in this, because I'm not that like stable with shooting, especially with the longer lenses. 45 to 150 is the only other one I have. They're both stock lenses, but say I wanted to use that, right? Click speed and duration, and then you go 40% because the footage is at 60 and sequence settings is 24 more or less, 24 frames. 24 divided by 60 comes out to 40%. So this is 40% worth, which is alright. After you got your song, go ahead and put it in. Right? And check the audio. One thing I noticed is that it's like stopping here. Like, you notice how it's like stuck here. It's all the way up here. That's because the music is too loud, and even though I clicked adjust audio gain and I set the max peaks to -12, it's almost like always max peaking. So you can go ahead and change this down. See how that sounds, maybe a little loud. Yeah, right there sounds good. And make sure you disable the keyframes, because if you don't know, keyframes will like say this is a keyframe. If I make it into keyframe, it'll continuously change. So you don't want that. You want it to stay the same unless you're trying to change it. In my videos, I like to introduce the scene of the video by implementing maybe some B-roll or even just some action shots, but slow-mo action shots or B-roll, some kind of slow action. I mean, you can start with action, start with like the main content if you want, or an intro if you filmed an intro. Once you have the song in here, what I like to do is, well, I listen to the song. Right here I can hear the drop, so I'm gonna put a marker there. This is when I want a clip to change, right? So this could be slow because it matches the music, and then bang, it goes fast, or even just a different shot that's more interesting. Putting your cuts on beat right there. Putting your cuts on beat it makes it a lot more satisfying to watch, and it shows that the song plays a part in it. Some videos, they make it so like the song kind of just doesn't feel like it matches, it kind of just fills the like a array of clips. Something that's also important is you can go in here and set an in and out point, so you know exactly what you're going to use. So here I could bring that in. So that way I don't have the whole clip to go through and choose. God, there's so much to editing that like it's really hard to cover. I keep rambling on and on and on. I'm not trying to make the video longer. It's just so much, So in and out points, you got your little buttons that you can clear the in and out points, and I use in and out points a lot to, well, maybe render certain parts of the video. So, right there, say like I have a bunch of titles and a bunch of clips here that I want to make sure it's covered, so when I'm watching it's all rendered. I can go ahead and render in to out, so it renders the entire section, or even just press enter and it'll render any parts in the video. Oh man! Go to edit keyboard shortcuts, okay, and memory card full. I can't believe it, bro. It was the memory card. Back to what I was saying. The keybinds for when you're editing is important because we have all these different functions, but if they're like, say, deleting is up here, every time you want to delete, you have to move your hand, move it over, and click the delete button, and that it'll add up. Trust me. So I also add edit this is my keybinds. I have add edit on W, and well, to set them, you search for the function that you want, right? Add edit, and there's a very, very good video below. And the reason why I was able to do my keybinds easily was because I've already been editing with you know, the default keybinds. So I just looked at what button I was using. So like maybe add edit, right? I already knew what it did because it was in a certain place where if I clicked that button, I knew what it would do. And add edit basically cuts the sequence. That's what it does for me. Cuts the sequence. There's probably something else there. That's why it says add edit, but for me, it cuts the sequence, and that's what I use. I don't like to switch to the cut tool here. So we got this clip, right? Some people click this and cut, right? For me, I like to just every time you see how it just went away is because I put Command Z, and Command Z is pretty common. If you don't know about Command Z, what it does is it undoes, or it's an undo keybind. I click W because W is my add edit keybind, and it cuts wherever the sequence is. Right? It'll cut the audio if you're not clicking on the sequence that you want. So you click on it, it cuts that on the audio. If you want just the sequence, just unlink it, and it'll cut this, right? And you can keep the audio. But anyway, let's go ahead and delete all this. For delete, I have delete on Shift and Spacebar. I have really weird keybinds, but it's just comfortable for me, and that's what I have. So if you don't know what a certain thing is, or like you're not sure how to customize your keybinds, just go to the link below in the description, and that'll help you with that. Okay, so let's listen to the song. Okay. Originally, when I first started editing, I would just bring in whatever clip, you know, like a random clip, and then see how it worked. So you can do this if you want. I don't like to have the audio, but I'll just mute it just in case we want it. Right here, you notice how there's a cut, so I'm going to cut it, and let's just bring in a random thing. Okay. It's already looking kind of decent. So, I would like to start with B-roll. But this is not the B-roll that I want. I want it of me running. So, the line in this video that I do, it took me a good amount of tries because it was pretty hard and technical. But there's a lot of it's a decently long line, and there's a lot of content here that we can work with and make a video just out of one line. As long as you get the extra shots, it's always better to have too much than too little. Let's start with some B-roll of me running. Now, in the original line, here, let's go ahead and watch it. It's not in a good, here, user order, no, label. Okay, there we go. A is the first, right? I have all the different main chunks of the video here that I might use. And this is my friend doing a Kong Pre. It's a huge Kong Pre. But this man does the Kong Pre, and I'm filming him. Let's go ahead and watch that. We can use that too. Okay, and maybe out point right there. Nice, okay. In case you didn't notice, right, it's kind of jittery. So if you want the whole thing, to be a certain way, you can go to this. Click, right click, modify, interpret footage, and then go ahead and click 24. This will make it slow-mo for the entire clip, and because I already set an in and out point, it'll just be for that little portion. Also, when you do that, the in and out point doesn't carry over. Like it's in the same points, but it's not where I actually wanted it. So let's go ahead and fix that. Yeah, next, it's probably better to just click speed and duration and change it to 40%. Okay. So I'm going to cut here and just get to this point. I want his hands to touch when the cut happens. let's just adjust it. There's a tool, if you press R, I have the default setting for that. If you press R, you get the rate stretch tool, and you can stretch. What it does is it doesn't shorten the clip, it just changes the speed to match the playhead, right? So say I wanted the clip to be start here and end here, okay? But I wanted everything in the clip, like all the way down here. Just click R and trim it to the playhead. And now it'll stop right there. So that's one example of something very short. For the full entire edit, we're gonna make this. We got this. Okay? Let's listen to the song one more time. Sorry, doing that a lot. Let's listen to the song. Shut up. Listen to the song, okay? Okay. So let's start with B-roll to introduce the scene. The way I've been editing recently is I have like a build-up, right? So that could be with B-roll or whatever. And I have a build-up into the final montage. So right when the beat drops, or like maybe when I feel like the timing is right, I put in all the action and I cut it to the beat, and I make sure it's like the climax of the video, right? And you have to have some kind of closing as well. When at the end, right, you can maybe show some extras or some funny clips like here, right?
It was. I made it look so hard. Yeah, it did. Yeah, because it was.
Right? I could literally just say that's what she said, because this guy is funny. He's so funny, bro. You could just end it with a simple "thank you for watching," or maybe fade to black. You know, it's whatever you're trying to go for. I don't really do this, but you know, to make it look cool, I got some shots of doing that. It's maybe, and then perfect. All right. Notice how there's like no sound right there? I'm gonna use that to my advantage. Right here, it kind of like crescendos right here. I'm making this up as I go, but I'm gonna go to Lumetri color. Oh, it got away now. It's in here. I have custom bins for effects that I use often, but just go ahead and search up Lumetri color. It's in the video effects under color correction, Lumetri color. So you can change the color like this. Wow, Lumetri color, wow. Okay, so you change it and you do this, wow. I'm gonna bring the saturation down. And I'll stop it here and then bring it back up. Oh god, not that high. Wait a minute. Like that, okay. So this is what we're working with now. Okay, actually I don't want to bring it back up. See, it's all a matter of playing it, seeing it how you want it, right? And maybe you can even like reframe the shot, scale it in, you know, and then watch it again. That's probably the longest part, depending on like your editing process. Before, when I was using my iPhone and still editing on my computer that I built for editing, the MOV file clashed with the computer and it was not good. So the longest part then was importing the footage. But now, for the most part, if you get the importing and that whole process down, it'll just be watching it back. You just watching it back the whole time. So you can see how it is and how you want it. So you see how it fades right there. Actually, let's make it fade a little faster. Now my idea is because it's empty here, I'm gonna fade the saturation so it's black and white, and then have another shot of it fading up. Wow, fading back up to show that the music is kind of affecting it. You know, it's like the video lives in the music. You know, it's beautiful. Okay. Now I'm not sure what to use for this. Let's go ahead and look in our thing. Let's look at this B-roll here. I'm running. Okay, it's in focus right into there. Let's take that and then One thing that's really funny is this little tongue. I don't know why I do that. This little like it's my focus face, you know, like I'm trying to lick some kind of like. Okay. Yeah. All right. Oh, I'm gonna slow-mo here. So let's actually just see. This is my editing process. Let's delete this and change this back to 100%. Okay. And I still want it to end here, but let's see how far. Oh, nice. Okay. Why? Why, you ask? Well, because this is going to be fast and then slow. If it's slow here and then fast and slow, it doesn't really make sense. So it's going to be 100%, 100%, and then right here, I want it to go down to slow motion. Now, I used to just cut and change the slow motion to, or change the speed. You can do it here, 40% like that, right? Or you can right click and click speed and duration. But what that does is it makes it really choppy. You know, it depends what kind of look you're going for, right? Like that matches. That's good. But if you want to speed ramp it, takes a little bit more finesse. You're gonna have to say you wanted to make it slow right here. Bring this a little up so you can see it. Now, click left corner down here. Left corner. Click time remapping speed. Hold Control, or Control, and then it'll bring up the plus sign. Click here, and this creates a keyframe. With editing, it's a lot of like, you learn as you go, so you kind of just have to go ahead and give it a try, and whatever you don't know, search it up on YouTube, figure it out. Eventually, you'll know exactly what everything is, how keyframes work, and how to navigate the system. But let's oh shit. Okay, so this keyframe, what it does is it separates these two layers, right? The difference between cutting is I can actually, because it's speed ramping, I can change the let's say 40. Shit. 40. Okay. So it'll give me this little wrap to play with, and I can move the slider down, and so now it's still quick, but it's gradual, right? But you can do this. I want it to go absolute slow-mo on the beat, but that's fine. If you want it to go slow-mo on the beat, you need to make the ending right there, so it stops there. But a little bit ahead is good for now. I wanted to get shots of Have a Good Time because I was having a good time. It's hot, man. Taking this off. Wow. Great thing about making videos is that you get satisfaction from like creating something that you wanted to, you know, an idea that you had, and making it come to life. But also you get to control, you know, what they see. Change footage that doesn't look very good and make it look like amazing, you know. And you know, they'll never know if you're wearing pants or not. Okay, get back to editing. Okay. Right there I wanted to cut because there's a little, you know. I actually want it on the hi-hat that on this beat. It just sounds better. And one thing we're forgetting is the saturation, because I readjusted the clip. Here I can see in the audio, that's when it starts to get quiet. Yeah. Now let's look at the difference with the keyframe of saturation compared to this complete zero. Because if you don't make keyframes, it'll just switch immediately from the different clips, which doesn't look very good. So let's put a keyframe here. Shit. The way keyframes work is you just click this and whatever the number is, it'll create a keyframe. So say you wanted the temperature like this, click that, and it'll create a keyframe. Now, go back a little. You can change it, and the keyframe will go through the different settings. Just to be safe, I'm going to nest it. What nesting does is it creates a mini sequence that has the clips in. And when you put, the reason why I did that is because when you have something that's speed ramped, it can mess up when you add effects to it, or if you try to like change the positioning, like keyframe the positioning. I'm gonna do the saturation here. So same thing, bring in this lumetri color, basic correction, saturate. That looks good. If you want it to be a little, have a little variation when it comes to the keyframes, you can right click it, and then click Bezier. What it does is it makes ramps, and you can change these ramps however you want. So do this, and you can make like a super fast, and then it gets slower gradually, right? And then here, do the same thing. Now let's grab this frame. Cut, bring this above. Color dodge, was it? Wait. Lighter color. Okay. Can't really see it. Let's just maybe grab the lumetri color and add some effects. Oh, this looks good. I like pink. Now that I think about it, the frame in front of it, like the very next frame, is a little too soon. Let's delete. So here I want the cut, so 1, 2, 3. Let's take this one. Boop. And then same thing, lighter color. And then we're gonna put on the lumetri color. Oh wait, no. It's Command V because I already had the settings. I messed with the temperature and the tint. Ta-da! It's a little bit more obvious that way. Boop, boop. Okay. Here. That matches, right? Been a minute. You hear that? We can do it again. So. Yep. Oh, we finished it. We finished the edit. To summarize, we've got the intro, right? This is how I make my videos. This is how I make my videos. Blah, blah. We got the intro, right? Kind of introducing the scene, like Oh, feet, shoes, wow. They're running. B-roll. Here's the Kong, the action. And we go in and we showing like one more jump. Kinda did a line too. Here with that boy right there, kinda. He did a line too, but I wasn't able to get it in. Sorry, it just didn't come up. And the line, the music, is well, 1 minute space is very limited, but I don't have much time, you know, like in terms of space, right? I'm recording this, and anyway, but yeah. So we've got the intro introducing the scene, action, and then it goes to B-roll because of the song. Right here, it kind of goes down and builds back up into the main montage, which is after the fail compilation. Now this kind of shows like the journey we took, and like, you know, it wasn't easy. It wasn't an easy line, so it kind of just shows. And this is how much I can do in 1 minute. You know, right? Like 1 minute of space, right? But if I have maybe like 10 or if I have maybe like 7 or 10 minutes, I can actually go through go thoroughly through like a full day's training and everything that's happened, or like most things that's happened. But yes, this is the main line. It's the climax, or just climax. It's the end, and it's kind of the resolution, right? I'm running, and kind of ends here, back on the wall, just for the loop. But for this, if I had more time, I would like to end it on this right here, because it kind of shows like have a good time, right? Like that's the theme of this video, almost, kind of. But yeah, all the techniques in here, I hope you picked up on some. And any questions, just comment down below. Now, sorry, the very last step is the export. You're gonna go File, Export, Media. Okay, you can, or just press Ctrl M as it says here. You can export, and for your export settings, make sure they match the sequence settings. There, okay. So you've got the export settings. Now, output name, you can click here and rename it however you want. It's important that you click where you want it to save. So you can go pictures, you can save it here if you want. I always save mine in edits and the videos folder. Videos is all the exported stuff I've done. But I would name this one line. Now that's the new name. Max render quality. I'm not like the best at export settings, so you might want to watch a different video on that. But just in general, HEVC is lighter, and it's like it doesn't. QuickTime is crazy. It takes like a lot of space. Here, QuickTime takes a lot of space. It's never export in this. That sucks. HEVC is the way. It's the way. Match source, high bit rate. Scale to fit. Make sure that it's sequenced in and out, or just entire sequence, because if you accidentally set your in and out to here, you're not going to get this 8 seconds right here. So make sure your in and out is at the beginning and the very end of the timeline. So it's ready. You can click export or queue if you want to continue to work on the edit or something else. And yeah, you have the option to export just a little bit if you want it for like a teaser or something.